Okay, so today's video is going to be a little demonstration on cutting face frames. We cut our face frames on the radial arm saw, and we're going to be cutting two jobs today. So we're going to be cutting this job here. It's a paint grade shaker job, and here's our face frame cutting list. We're also cutting another paint grade shaker job. Here's our pictures and our face frame cutting list, which we will go over in another segment. So we lay them all out on the floor. We cut from our biggest pieces of wood down to our smallest. So we start with like 5-inch, then 3.5, then 3, then 2 3/4, and so on, until we whittle it down to scrap, which we can sometimes, when it's cold, burn in the fireplace to keep us warm. Some of those pieces will be used. I just put them in there to get them out of the way, so not all that stuff will go in the fireplace. It's mostly the kindling that we use to start fires with the logs we get from the property here where trees have fallen down. That's usually where we get our wood to burn. So there you go. So we'll just be showing you cutting some face frames, and we'll have a segment of building the face frames. Again, these are demonstrations, not really meant to for instructional videos. These will just be showing what we'll be offering on our in our cabinet making course, which we will be working on soon. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've already cut our largest pieces. We're now down to all of our 1 3/4, which is the majority of the face frames. All the styles on all of the cabinets are 1 3/4. The mullions are all 1 3/4. Mullions are the members that go in between from the bottom rail up to the top rail on lowers and on uppers. Those are the mullions. The rails go right to left, horizontal. The styles and mullions go vertical. So, like I say, we've already cut all the largest. Now we're down to 1 3/4. So I need 18 rips of 1 1/4. We're going to get this out of our poplar stock right there, and we're going to get 18 rips of 1 7/8, and we will power plane it down to 1 3/4. So it will require no sanding. It'll be ready to just put into the frame. Okay, so here we go with some cutting. Okay, here we go. Ear protection, lung protection, finger protection, push stick, dust collector, actually 1 7/8. We'll mill it down to 1 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to rip up about 8 more of those, so I get my 18, and then we'll bring them over there and cross cut them. Okay, so we got our 18 rips of 1 7/8. We set up our machine here planer. We'll set the depth at 1 13/16. Run one side, then we'll flip it over. We'll flip the pieces over and run it to 1 3/4. And it'll be all ready. Won't need sanding, be nice and smooth, ready to go in the cabinet. Got our dust system, our fancy dust system all set up. Hold the dust down just a little bit. A lot of our dust system it goes out the doors right there. And this is our dust system for our arm saw. It goes out the window there. The less we have to breathe, the better. So I'll get that set up and roll that. Okay, so we run 3 or 4 boards at a time just to speed up the process. Spread a little silicone on there to help it slip through a little easier. And we'll set them on the bench. The side that we need to cut, we'll put that side up. So we know, and then we'll run the other side and they'll be all done. So let's start this process. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are all the next side to go through. That side's up. So I'll run the rest of them, then we'll set up for the other side. Okay, so we got our 18 rips of 1 7/8. It's now 1 13/16. We're going to run it through one more time, get it down to 1 3/4. And then we'll start cutting the rest of our face frames. All right, see you shortly. All righty, so we got our 18 rips here. It's all milled down to 1 3/4. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pick out our straightest ones for our longest styles. Some of them, like this one is pretty bowed and pretty dog-legged. So that one will go into shorter pieces. So you want your nicest, straightest ones, like that one's got a little bit of a dog leg, so that'll be for shorter ones. This one here, the first one I picked, is really pretty nice and straight. It'll work good for long styles for the floor-to-ceiling pantry cabinets or the tall refrigerator cabinets. Sometimes there's a slight bow. We'll put both the bows out. By the time we put the rails in, it'll straighten the frame out. So depends on what you're doing. But that's a nice straight one for our longest. That one got a little belly. That one got a little belly. Here's another pretty nice straight one. So these will be for our 2 longest styles. We got a couple of tall floor-to-ceiling cabinets. So we'll start with that. Alrighty. Alrighty, so I got a couple of my nice straight boards here, 1 3/4. And I showed you the list in the cutting list in the pictures before, but we're going to be cutting this reefer styles. Those should be nice and straight. So here we go. Get going here. We'll cut these, and then I'll cut a few more frames, and then I'll be back with you. Alrighty, so on your dust mask and your ear protection. Careful with this thing. Keep your fingers away from that. First, we're going to trim off the factory edge. I've already squared up the saw, so my cuts are nice and square. Make sure your blade's nice and straight up and down. Everything real nice and square and straight up and down. So my first cut is 97 3/4. And we'll cut both of them at the same time. Make sure they're nice and flush. There you go. So we mark the good side. Job name is white, so we call it W, and then number 9. So we mark it W9, and we set it over here with W9. Setting there with the top rail. So there you go. I'm going to cut a few more frames and I'll be back with you. All right, see ya. Okay, so on both jobs, I've cut my longest styles and placed them down there. We got W9, the reefer, and T11, the reefer on this job. This is Tim, so we call it T. White, we call it W. Once they're cut, I'll find T9 and cross it off. And I've already crossed it off, so then we get T11, and we T11 right here, we cross it off. Once all the frames are cut, we'll put an X through it, and we know that that frame is done, ready to go to the frame table. Alrighty, so just wanted to, these are quick demonstration videos. Our online course is going to be much more detailed. Probably each lesson will be an hour long, something like that. So we're still working all that out. So there you go. Okay, so once the long styles of those frames are cut, we end up with a couple pieces of fall off. Now we want to try to whittle it down, so we cut our longest pieces first. So our next longest piece out of both these jobs are 44 1/4. They're styles for these upper cabinets. So those are going to be cut next. These aren't 44 1/4, so they're only 36. So we're going to set those aside till we cut the longest ones. Then I'm going to grab another nice straight style and cut those 44 1/4. So that's what we're going to do real quick. I have I have several of them. I got 2 for that one, 4, 6, 8. I need 8 of them that are 44 1/4. So in this case, we're going to use this stop. First I'm going to trim off the factory edge, and then I'm going to set this for 44 1/4. Right there, there's a tape glued onto this piece of wood, and we're going to cut 8 of them at 44 1/4. So here we go. Always know where your fingers are around that thing. Okay, so there's 4 of them. I need 4 more, so I'm going to cut a few more frames, but that's the basic action there. And 2 of them are for, like I need 1 more for cabinet number 5 here. So I'm going to cross it off, and then I'm going to put W5, and I'm going to put this down on the W5 stack. Okay, I'm going to cut a few more of these frames, and I'll be back with you. Alrighty. Okay, so again, we're an old school shop, so we make these lists and we cut them biggest to smallest. The last ones I cut were 44 1/4, so I go through my list. There's like 32, 32, 32, 32, 24, 32. So 32 is my longest so far. 32, 32. 32 1/2, longest one. See, because you'll cut one 32 and then you got a 1/4 inch left. Oh, I should have cut the 32 1/2 first, because that's why it's best to whittle it down. Never fails. You cut it the shortest one, and then you don't have a piece for your longer one. So that's why there's a little bit of a method to our madness. 31 1/2. Here's 139. There's the winner so far. Okay, so 39. So we're going to cut the 39. That is a W4. You get moving here, and it's not as slow as it seems, but it's a pretty good method, actually. Works pretty good. And you noticed our elaborate dust system, so that's pretty sweet. So here we go. I'm just going to cut this 39 real quick. You see the dust system. You've probably already seen it, but you can see it again. Here we go, 39. This is fall off, but it's actually already been cut. 39, number W4. 39, W4. Now, that completes that frame. So I just crossed it off, W4, I marked the face, and now I'm going to put an X through it. So there it is. That frame is complete. It'll go down there, ready for the frame bench. So there you go. I'll be back. Okay, so this is some of our fall off from the longer pieces we cut. My next longest piece is 32.5, so I want to cut my one that's closest to 32.5. There's a 31.5, a 32.8, 36, 37 3/4, 36 3/8. So the 36 3/8 is my best candidate. So I'm going to mark that 32.5, and then I'm going to bring it over here and cut my 32.5. So you whittle down your fall off like that. Again, you want to cut the one that's closest to it. You don't want to cut another long piece. You want to get rid of these short pieces, whittle them down, and go from there. All right, so we still have some fall off we're working with, and we're going to whittle it all down. All right. So we're getting down there now. I got 2 boards left, 10 footers, and we're almost done with our 1 3/4 inch. There's a few notes here. The guy who lists the frames will sometimes make little notes on the list itself, like that one says bore low, dry. That one comes apart. So the guy who cuts the frames puts those notes right on the face of the frame part, like T7 there, so that whoever builds the frame knows that it's knows what to do with it. This one, SF, straight and flat. That means most of the face frame nails down to the cabinet, but like drawer rails, like there's some long drawer rails on this cabinet 1R right here. That middle rail and that the drawer rail, the top drawer rail, those don't nail down, so those need to be nice and flat. If they're bellied, it's going to cause problems. So those want to be flat. So the guy who listed them makes a little note there, like the SF means straight and flat. So again, I just wrote that on there, straight and flat. I cut these, and they're just a little bit shy. They'll work as long as the guy who's building the frame knows that they're shy and knows where to put it. They're styles, so they can be a little bit shy up at the top. So there you go. So we went through almost 180 feet. Now, how did we come up with that magical number? Well, I did the math. So roughly, I didn't spend all day doing the math. I just went down the list. Okay, there's 1 rip, there's 2 rips, there's 3 rips, there's 4 rips, there's 5 rips, 6 rips, and I came up with 18 rips that I needed. So that's how I came up with that. I may be short, but my machine is still set up, so if I need to make a couple nice smooth edges, I can just rip a couple more and run them through the planer. So there we go. I'll be back with you shortly. See, we're getting a pile of frames there, so I'll be back. Okay, so we're going through this list pretty good. We are down to, got a couple more 1 3/4 inch, and then we're down to our 3/4 inch. This is a custom shop, so we have 3/4 bottom rails on one of these jobs because it was a certain situation where we had to do a substandard bottom rail on these cabinets to make everything work properly. So we do what we have to do to make the cabinets work. So normally our bottom rails are 1.25 inches. I say substandard, that's substandard to our shop. So we do have our standards, although we're a custom shop, we have our standards, but sometimes we have to break the rule a little bit. And this was one of those cases. So I'm down to just cutting the last couple of pieces here, like this 1 1.75 inch, 24 7/8. That's going to finish off cabinet number 8, W8. So I'm going to cut this one more 24 7/8, and then I'm going to X that out. Just going to make myself a little note so I don't forget here. Then I'm going to X that out. Now again, this is a custom production shop, so somebody might be chomping at the bit to keep working. Somebody's always, you got to keep people working. So I may finish cutting this frame and say, hey, so-and-so, we got a frame for you. And then he'll come in and get it, lay it out on the story pole, and build a frame. We'll go over that in another segment soon. Probably these frames, we're going to show you how we build the frames. Alrighty, so almost there. I'll be right back with you. Guy's in his tractor over there plowing. Doesn't realize I'm trying to make a movie here. That's all right. We're in the farmland. I was just kidding. Nice to be out here. Okay, so we've almost gone through all of our 1.75 inch. As you can see, a lot of those numbers are crossed through. Not a lot of X's on that job, but there are several X's on that job. We just have a few more 1.75 inch pieces to cut. So like I got one, I need like one more 1.75 inch right here, 1.75 inch, 10 7/8, one more piece. And kind of magically, this is whittled down. This piece is about 12 inches. That's all my fall off right there. I went through all my 180 feet, and I need one more piece, and I have that. So we've whittled it all down. I need one more piece, and then I need a couple of 5-inch drawer mullions that go right there to separating the two drawers. It's a 5-inch drawer mullion, and I have, you know, that's where some of this stuff comes in handy. So yeah, and then we're off to our 1.25 inch, then down to our 3/4, and that'll be it. So I'll be back with you. Okay, so I just ripped that fall off down to 1.25 inch, and it left this piece that saw is off, but you always want to consider them on, but they're could be dangerous. You got to be careful if you're doing something besides cutting. So this fall off, we use something that we call scribe strip. I can rip this down. Approximately, we make it about 1/8 inch heavy, and it goes like if there's a wall-to-wall cabinet, it will go. We make them a little bit shy. They put the cabinet up, and they throw these. Then they crown it out up at the top, or they put top case up. And then they use the scribe strip on the right and the left just to fill the gap. It's only 1/8 inch heavy, thick, so it's very unobtrusive. So it not only unobtrusive, it doesn't show very much. I have just those big words. Sometimes I use those words. I don't even know what they mean, but they sound good. So. No, actually, so like I say, we whittle it down to almost nothing, and that's what we end up using for our firewood. So back with you. Alrighty, so we're down to our last piece to cut. All those X's there. Something very gratifying about putting an X through one of these. There's the last guy right there, that 3/4 by 10 1/8. All those frames X'd out, and all of those frames on the ground. It's cabinet making's got gratifying moments, like when you finish a set of frames, you finish a cabinet, you finish building a set of drawers. And this is our fall off. We cut about 50 board feet of poplar, which is a domestic material. And we try not to waste anything. We realize how precious our environment is. We try to use wood that is sustainable, harvested in the greenest way possible. This is a tough profession to do that in, but we do our best. We try to use all domestic materials, nothing out of the rainforest, things like that, products that are made in the USA. So, but like I say, there's all the frames we cut. It's a lot of frames. It's the better part of a day's work, but it feels good to get both those. That's two kitchens there. Get those done. So I got, like I said, one more piece to cut. That little 10 1/8, and I got a little piece right here that I'm gonna get that out of, and I'll let you share that last cut with me. There we go, one more piece. Don't forget to use this on that table saw, very important. Especially when you're cutting these little pieces. So, 10 1/8. There we go. Double check. It's a little heavy. Perfect. Last set. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to edit this video and get it up on YouTube ASAP. All right, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Okay, so that's cutting face frames. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration video, and we're trying to keep them coming. So just keep doing these demonstrations, and soon we will be starting our online course. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our Bay Custom Cabinets YouTube site, and we'll see you on the next video. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.